Hello and welcome to Tea Talk. So this is Tea Talk, where I talk with other YouTubers about their mental health and what mental health means to them. So today I have Aaron with me, and we're going to talk about mental health and being in the LGBTQ+ community and what that can do to your mental health and your body image as well.
Yes.
So we will start right at the beginning, way back, talk about your when you finally came out to everyone, when you felt comfortable enough. Did you notice anything different in your mental health, mentally?
Right. So when I was originally still in the closet and I was a young, impressionable teenager, as we all were once, I was quite depressed and quite struggling with who I was as a person, and I didn't really know how to express myself and feel comfortable with myself, and I used to get bullied a lot. And so when I started getting more confident in myself and my sexuality towards the end of secondary school, I just started feeling a little bit better, and I started coming out to some people. So my friends mainly, they were quite early on, I came out to them, and then with them I felt really comfortable. And then it took me quite a long time before I came out to my parents. And because I don't know why, but I built it up in my head so much that it was this massive deal. A lot of people do that, and that's fine, but just be aware that it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. And so when I eventually did come out to them, I personally still didn't feel great about it. It wasn't like a resolution, because for myself I'd already accepted myself and been okay with it for a while, and then I was suddenly back at this place where people didn't understand it and didn't get it, and so I had to explain it a lot to my parents, and they just didn't understand what I was going through and why it was so hard for me. And we had quite a lot of fights and stuff like that, which not like physical fights, but just lots of shouting. It takes a toll on your mental health, it really does. And especially because I was also going through finals in high school, and I was also having driving lessons and stuff like that, all these things were just on my mind all the time whilst I was uncomfortable with myself. And so I just froze, I kind of panicked, and I stopped most of those things, and I did not very well in my finals, and I passed, so yay. But I was just too obsessed with what was going on mental health wise that I just everything blocked. It felt like I didn't have enough time to do everything that I needed to do and I wanted to do, and started living with it more openly at home. I did feel a lot better. It was quite a lot of relief, and I had tons of amazing friends who were very supportive, so that was amazing, and it definitely got better. You feel right, I've now got to a place where I'm comfortable. Yeah. And so therefore when I'm talking about it, and because I feel more confident, it will just feel a lot more easier. Yeah. And you also have the strength behind you to go, no, this is who I am, and this is what it is, and this is what it means. But it was definitely hard to then have that setback of my parents going, we don't understand, tell us who you are, tell us what we don't know. And I was suddenly no, because I already know all these things, I don't want to talk about them anymore. I've struggled through this twice already, and I don't want to do it for a third time just because you guys don't get it. It sounds a bit obnoxious and what's the word? I'm foreign. It just felt a bit selfish, but at the same time I knew that if I didn't take that for myself, take that time and be no, I can't do this again, my mental health probably would have gotten worse. I didn't want to have to go through that again, being oh great, more people who don't understand me. It is the fear of oh great, there's a new set of people. Yeah. How do I do it? How do I tell them? Is that similar with just admitting things about eating disorders or mental health to people? Where you have to go through it multiple times explaining it. When I first came to uni, I was very open and I wanted to get it out there as soon as possible. I call it the match story, in which I don't know how safe this was, but we had to, for one of our assessments, tell a story or write a monologue about a story in our life. Right. And one of the exercises that the teacher did was, strike a match, and you have to tell your story whilst the match is there to tell it by the time that the match had gone out. Right. And I went, I fucking know what to do. I'm going to tell them about this eating disorder that's been plaguing my mind, because there was still in the back of my mind, even though I was thankfully at a point finally where I was accepting on my body,
a part of me went, people must still think I'm fat, and fat is a bad thing, and they must think like I have no self-control, and therefore I need to tell them so that they don't come to me with these things, because then I can go, I have an eating disorder, or still recovering from it, like don't touch me. It was more of a wall. And so I struck this match, and I told them, and I blew it out at the end, and I felt freaking confident. I went, yeah, I told you, yeah. And everyone in the circle went, oh God, I don't know what to do with this information.
Because it's like a sensitive, like it's always this kind of elephant in the room where they're like, can we ask her about it? Can we say we're there for her? Like yeah. What do you say?
But yeah, I don't know, like the way that I told it, or the way that I like sort of came out with my mental health, I don't know like how beneficial that was, because it was like a firecracker.
Yeah.
It just like been set off the community of LGBTQ plus, because the stereotype that I hear quite a lot is no fats, no femmes, no Asians.
Yeah.
Does that, when you know that stereotype, does it affect you as a gay man in this LGBTQ plus world?
It does a little bit. I think it was especially when I first started exploring the community, like when I was 18, I had a boyfriend for a month, and that was all I knew about like the community and everything. So when I moved to the UK, I was in uni, and so suddenly I was like, hey, there's all these things that I haven't done before and that I can do now. So I went onto like dating apps and stuff like that. And with the gay dating apps, you meet a lot of people that are very direct and very judgmental. And there's also great people out there who just want to have a conversation, but most people are just there to hook up.
One night stand,
yeah.
And then leave it,
yeah.
So that you both know where you stand.
And with that, for me, because I have done that in the past, but for me, it was very much like, they're objectifying me. They're not hanging out with me because of me, they're hanging out with me because of my body. I fell down this hole of going like, I need to look good for these people because otherwise they won't give me attention.
Oh.
And that was a very dark spiral to go down.
Damn.
Yeah.
No, that is very much like, with me, even though I wasn't interested in like, when you're 11 and you're not interested with me personally, like going out on like those dates where you basically just have like, you go out with another guy, but you know, you're minors, so nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But like all the other girls would. But then slowly over time, because I thought that was the norm, and I had like a lot of puppy fat because during puberty, I was like, oh, well, no man's like gonna like this.
Yeah. And
also I was bullied because of my body at the same time. So throughout like my secondary school life, it was a case of not feeling happy with my body and changing it to please other people, and also for like male attention, because I thought as a woman that's what I needed to do. That's what I needed to be. And
that's very similar then. That's I don't like the idea of like, all throughout uni I had this idea that I needed to be perfect for these men that I wanted to attract or whatever, but it was never romantic, and that's kind of what was bad about it. And up until a point where I knew I wasn't happy with myself, but someone else was, and that was very confusing for me, because someone saw me and he was like, I want to date you, I want to like hang out with you, and that's actually Spud.
Hey!
And I was like, but why? Because I'm not this amazing great person that you think I am. And then he was like, no, you are, you just don't see it yourself. And that's kind of when things started changing. And rather than wanting to look good for the sake of looking good and to attract all these men that you see on posters and in TV shows, because everybody's ripped in TV shows and everybody's has a six-pack.
Watching it across the TV.
Exactly. In like teenage TV shows, these people are supposed to be 16, but they have six-packs and like massive chests, and I'm like, I don't look like that, and I'm not 16, so what am I doing wrong?
That's what I've always wanted to know about, like what's it like for like men to try and find themselves on TV. Because for me, because I had all this like puppy fat, and most of the women on TV are like or slim but like have curves, and you couldn't, when I was young, you couldn't find anyone like me, and so it just made me feel worse about myself. And like the voices were like, well, you know, the TV's right, you know?
That's what people want to see. And it's just annoying because I'm like, I don't look like that, but I want to, and I think apparently other people want me to because that's what people are attracted to, and that's what in especially Western culture, I think a lot of people see these beautiful cis white muscular men that are straight, and if they are gay then they're extra ripped and extra feminine because stereotypes. And it's so stupid because you start comparing yourself to that because that's the only representation you have. And then I'm like, am I not femme enough, or am I too femme? And I had this time where I was like, I was repulsed by people who were really femme, because in my brain, like, because of society, I was like, they're different, they're strange, and that's bad. But then I realized when I started becoming part of the LGBT plus community, like, oh wait, this is fine, and people are like that, and I'm a little bit like that because everybody's a little bit like that.
True.
And it isn't a bad thing, and that's when you start noticing, like, wow, there's so many things that are just ingrained into our personalities and in our brains because of society.
Because of stereotypes.
And you're just like, is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing? And then you start realizing, like, you've been indoctrinated just by, like, cis white men that everything that isn't cis and white is wrong.
Yeah, it's like, that is like really true. Like, we're all meant to be different. If we're all like the carbon copy, it'd be so boring. Like, that's not how society's meant to be.
It's not.
Like, you're meant to be like different and everything. For me, it was, I can only think of Friends, and like the only
Yay!
because, you know, oh my god, all the women are like a certain size. And then there was Monica when she was younger, and she was, you know, they make fun of her for being fat, and there are lots of fat jokes around her. But that is the only character that I thought like 14-year-old Eleanor could relate to, because it's like, oh, that's kind of different, kind of like my body, but they're making fun of a body that I can only relate to. Therefore, is my body like shameful and
like,
wrong, and therefore I shouldn't love it.
So annoying. It makes me so mad.
It makes me really upset. Right now, you're in a loving relationship.
Yes.
Very open. Very nice guy, by the way.
Yes,
and
he is.
with yourself. And mentally, I'm assuming mentally, and I'm assuming in terms of your body as well. Like, how do you try?
I feel like it's still in the back of my mind somewhere. I'm aware of that, and when I go to like a gay shop or well, I don't really go out, but if I were to go to a gay club, I do notice like all these men who do look like that, and I'm like, I kind of want to look like that, but also I don't want to put in the effort, and also I know it's not healthy
realistic
to think that. It's not realistic because I don't spend 6 out of 7 days in the gym.
Or on 7 days on Photoshop.
Yeah, well, or that, yeah, exactly. And so I'm aware of that, and I try to like not spiral down back into the like, I need to look perfect because that's how I get views and money and all this job. I still have lots of other things in my brain that are like scary to me and that I don't understand and that I worry about constantly. But that's less in regards to myself and my community and my body as well, like the way I look. Like, obviously I'm still working on it, and that's totally fine, but I'm no longer doing it from a point where I go, these people that I don't know need to appreciate my body, so I need to look good. It's for I want to look good for myself, and I want to be healthy. And so I think that's definitely gotten better. I still have lots of other things in my brain that I'm scared of and that I worry about to do with the future and career, and like, don't even go into it because I will break down. And the community, I have friends in the community. I don't extensively like go out and do things in the community, but I have friends that are also gay and that have a similar view on things as I do, where they don't just want to sleep with everyone and look amazing, but just want to be loved and love people just freely. And that's definitely been a lot of progress since 14-year-old Aaron, who's just been like, I hate my life, I don't want to be gay, but I'm gay now, so oh well. I'm definitely at a place with my sexuality where I'm just comfortable and confident, and then I just kind of block out that part of the community that goes, you need to be fit. And then I just like,
that's not my community.
I do need to be fit, but for my own sake and not because you tell me to.
Thank you.
That's alright.
So much.
But we're not done yet, we're also filming a video on my channel.
About
something.
Mental health.
Yes.
On Aaron's channel, so I will link to Aaron's channel at the end of this, at the end card, and link to Tea Talk playlist if you so wish to catch up with any of the Tea Talk episodes you might have missed. But until then, I'll see you next time for another Tea Talk. Bye!